Welcome back to another stream, my quick crypto family and my coin factory family, number 20th stream in a row. And we have got some incredibly bullish news, as I'm sure most of you probably already know if you've been looking at Twitter, or again if you're also in my Discord server. We have just received confirmation that the hard fork to 10 blocks per second is officially happening. It's now finally underway, and we're going to get into this in a lot more detail. Obviously, it's very, very big news to come, and proving that the years to come in 2025, when this hard fork happens, will be the time when Kaspa fully takes over the blockchain space and just soaking up so much liquidity within this space. So it's very, very big news. Of course, if you enjoy these streams, feel free to leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more. And yeah, ultimately we're in a very, very unique time for crypto and especially for Kaspa right now. Obviously right now Kaspa's down 3.57% on the daily time frame, valued at 16.09 cents. And in my opinion, we can still see some up and downs. I mean, I've been saying this for the past week and a bit now, almost 2 weeks now, that I figured we stay in this sort of region, consolidating around this region for the time being, leading up into September. We are now roughly 10 days away or so before the Fed are allegedly going to be issuing rate cuts, and very strongly believe they will do. Even Reuters are predicting that as well, and they're reporting about that. So we could see rate cuts come in. If Kaspa stays at this value, we could see Kaspa potentially correct further down, which just for me is another great buying opportunity. The lower Kaspa goes, the more bullish I get. A lot of people are seemingly unhappy with Kaspa's current price action, considering that as you look at Kaspa on the yearly, when you check it on CoinMarketCap, but Kaspa on the yearly, we can see that it's not really done too much from November, to now. It's gone up 1 cent, if that. So a lot of people are quite, frustrated by that, and I get that. But again, you got to look long term for something like Kaspa. Kaspa has done this in the worst bear market in history. So ultimately, as much as Kaspa's been, you could argue it's been outperformed by other projects in the span of almost the last year, but overall, it is not. Kaspa's still by far the most bullish project in the space, in my opinion, and the technology, the protocols that are being released with Kaspa is why I'm so bullish, and the 10Bps is just another testament to what Kaspa are building. MVE, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, my friend. Thank you very much for joining the stream, and yeah, very, very bullish. As we can see here, we're going to get straight into this right now. Crescendo. Over 2 years of hard work by a handful of dedicated Kaspa coders, led by Michael Sutton, one of the lead developers, brings us Crescendo. The hard fork roadmap is revealed for 10Bps and so much more. This is the article here, published by Michael Sutton himself, written by Michael Sutton. Basically, you've got to pay attention how big this news really is. So obviously, we saw the successful deployment of Rusty Kaspa, the Arcane Node software, a little while back now. I believe it was earlier this year. And effectively, right now, we can see, if we were to look at the I didn't preload it, give me a moment, but if we look at the migration, the Rust migration, look at the Rust migration, we can see that right now it says in this, 97% of blocks are being mined with Rusty Kaspa nodes right now, which is it's been hovering around that region for quite some time, as we can check out here from Kaspa's website. We can see right now is at 97.78, and this is going to continue this way until we have 10Bps, right? So before I get further into the article, we can see this post from Shai, and it's a very, very important post that you need to pay attention to right here. So ultimately, this is talking about the difference between a soft fork and a hard fork, right? And I'm going to put it in my own words in a way that I think will make it easier to understand. As much as it's not complicated what he said, but I'm going to just put my own take on it, right? So there are two things: a soft fork and a hard fork, right? A soft fork is what happened when we saw the integration of the Rusty code, where the soft fork is a subtle change. It's like adding a new rule to a game, so to speak, but without changing any of the core gameplay. It's just adding an extra rule to, change things up a little bit. And the only people that need to, adapt to this soft fork are the miners, which is why we've been seeing the migration, majority of them in Rust now. That's the only people that have had to adapt to this soft fork with the Rust are the miners, but we haven't had to do anything yet. Not at all. So for an example, it's like imagine adding a new card game, or adding a new card to a card game, adding a joker to a deck of cards, and that joker has some form of value to it. The existing players, people who are playing the game, don't really need to know about the new card. They can just keep playing, but the ones who are designing the game need to know what it actually does, so to speak, if that helps at all. Then you've got the hard fork, right? The hard fork, this is like changing the entire rulebook to a game, right? So it's changing the entirety of the game and what it represents, what it does, not just the rules, everything about it, right? And as a result, it means that all the players, not just the minors, but everybody has to agree to these new rules to continue playing the same game, changing the rules, but you have to continue. So everyone has to, again, if they change the rules of how you played a deck of cards, you have to, okay, for example, right, changing the number of players needed to win a card game, right? That's a good example. If you change the number of players needed to win a card, instead of it being 1 or 2 originally, now you need people to agree it has to be 3 or 4 for you to continue playing the same game. But everyone had to agree to this beforehand. So those are the kind of difference between soft and hard forks. Soft forks are backwards compatible, which is why you can see even now that some miners are still using Go nodes. So they are backwards compatible, but hard forks are not at all. So when the hard fork comes through, this is going to be 100% all mining on Rust, because the miners will have no choice. They'll have to mine on Rust because they won't be backwards compatible anymore. And something I've been hearing people ask as well, which is also important to note. Not all hard forks, as it's asked from this question here, not whether it create new coins, not all hard forks create new cryptocurrencies. It's possible, of course, and many hard forks can do that, but all they can simply be just upgrades to the existing crypto. So it should be simply just upgrading Casper, right? Upgrading the protocols, upgrading how Casper works and how it functions. But we don't need a new token for that. And the fact that Casper's taken so much time doing that, I don't believe we'll see a new token with it. And the users, so us, we don't typically need to prepare for the hard fork. They're planned out in advance, which we can see in this roadmap, the Crescendo roadmap. They've taken precautions to make sure they're doing this properly. So we will be told what we need to do, when we need to do it, and we're given amples of time in advance, amples and amples of time. This could likely not be dropped till middle, if not mid to late 2025 at this point, which we'll go through again in a bit more detail. But ultimately, the soft fork, we had to do nothing. The hard fork, we might have to do something, but we've got amples of time to do it. So it's not a cause for concern at all. Ultimately, it's just very, 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 very bullish. So it's a lot to look forward to. Mahmoud, my mate, my friend, welcome, welcome, welcome. How can you not be bullish on Casper? Exactly, that's what I'm saying. How can you not be bullish on Casper? Bitcoin under 60k, true that. Bitcoin is currently under 60k right now. Seemingly it's continuing to correct quite significantly. And with the fact that rate cuts are looming very, very close, it leads me to believe that we could potentially see Bitcoin come back down to 50k again, which would be amazing if it does that, because that'll be even more cheap crypto and potentially even more cheap Casper coming in very, very shortly. Good morning, Quick Crypto. Good morning, Red Them instead of Reddit. Thank you very much for joining the streams. And yeah, again, 10 BPS, very, very big. So there's in this article, I'll link this in the chat for everyone who wants to check it out for themselves. But in this article here from Michael Sutton, they got the more detailed walkthrough if you want to read through, the more detailed breakdown of it. But I'm simply just going to go through the kind of the TLDR aspects of this. So obviously we have the roadmap right here. The launch of stabilization, which has already been completed. We saw that already with the launch of the testnet, with the desired block rate and related network seconds, and the work on stabilizing it. This happened at the beginning of this year, January 2024, we saw on the testnet 11 that Rusty Casper officially started working 10 BPS. So we know Casper already has Rust implemented, and we know on testnet 11, 10 BPS already works. That happened at the beginning of this year. Then they're identifying bottlenecks just to, see if they can optimize the performance and lower the hardware specifications to acquire. So just making it easier to run and making it better ultimately. That's all, just fine tuning it, simple as that. And then it's the iterative improvement. So effectively, they're just going to repeat the identifying of bottlenecks. They're going to repeat this, but they're going to use minimal specs until the minimal specs are affordable enough and low enough. So effectively, it's just rinse and repeating, making it as good as they possibly can, and just doing it again and again and again. And this will approximately, in their opinion, take roughly 2 months from now. So we'll see this before the end of this year with this next step completed. And then the next step is to enhance user experience, which, once performance requirements are settled, perfect the node software to the level of user experience required by main operators. So effectively, it's just, again, ultimately right now, in a kind of a more TLDR, we have 10 BPS already working on testnet 11. We have Rust implemented onto the mainnet already. Now we're seeing the gradual migration from 1 to 10 bps on the mainnet happening as we speak right now. And all it is, we've got the hard part out of the way, the launch stabilization, and we've done some identifying of bottlenecks. All it's going to be now is just fine tuning, rinse and repeat, enhancing user experience and fine tuning again and again and again. Maybe adding some additional features, to make it a little bit easier. But these things take time. But ultimately it's just, again, just fine tuning to make it as good as it possibly can, so there is no problems whatsoever. And this is exactly what Shai has stated. When Da Vinci Jeremy, months and months back, was arguing on Twitter with Shai about the fact that hard forks can cause problems for Kaspa, that is true. Hard forks can be problematic due to the potential of errors occurring during the migration phase, or hackers getting involved. But Shai stated that if you do it accordingly and you give it ample of time and test, there are no problems with hard forks, and that's indicative of what's happening right now. Look how long we're not expected to get additional features till December, January. So most likely the mainnet deployment will come till, it says here, 1-2 months later after everything else, the main deployment. So we're talking 4 or 5 months from now, if not even more. So it's like 6 or 7 months from now. So again, that's kind of looking towards early to mid 2025. We will see the release of 10 bps. So that's a long way away. That's not the best news to hear, I guess, because a lot of us maybe thought it'd come sooner than that. But again, Kaspa's doing their due diligence to make sure that the code and everything is fully fleshed out. There'll be no problems with it, and we can just simply have 10 bps. And this is going to limit any risk that comes with it as well, and also give the miners ample of time to migrate from Go to Rust. Not that there's many left of them. Most of them are already on Rust, but it gives them ample time to migrate, so there are no problems. So it's very, very big to see. And it's just simply getting the understanding of the difference between a soft and a hard fork. We've seen the soft fork already, and now we are starting to see the hard fork. And it's going to be a long process, but when this comes out, 10 bps is 6,000 times faster than Bitcoin in terms of block generation. That's how amazing 10 bps is going to be for Kaspa. And the release of KRC20 is imminent. We already have received confirmation that we are going to end up seeing the likes of the KRC20 released ideally by the end of this month, if not early September. And when that happens, that means Kaspa's going to have a platform that start releasing their own stablecoins as well, and they're going to have their own Casplex, their own blockchain, their own block DAG, and we'll see it compete with the likes of the Trons and the Solanas of the space. And then in due time when smart contracts come out, it will be able to compete with Ethereum as well. Although saying that, the likes of Solana, I believe it was, the likes of Solana did very, very well in the last cycle. It was Cardano, apologies. Cardano in the last cycle did pretty well without smart contracts. So I believe that if Kaspa doesn't get smart contracts this cycle as well, we could see similar, bullish momentum from Kaspa regardless, but smart contracts could be very, very big. And then, so once we get the block DAG, the Casplex platform of KRC20 and all that, and we see increased adoption with Kaspa, then we will have the migration of 1 to 10 bps, making that Casplex that much better. So again, it's just constant improvements coming for Kaspa, more bullish announcements. We will see this migration from 1 to 10 bps being launched with Kaspa and put onto the Casplex, and that will make Kaspa so much more scalable and more decentralized, and more decentralized as well. More decentralized, more secure, and more scalable. And that, again, sticking true to it being the trilemma solver and allowing it to flip the likes of Solana and Ethereum and all the rest. And it will become, in my opinion, the most dominant blockchain protocol, or I guess block DAG in this space. And it will soak up so much liquidity. And again, the KII, who are actively taking part in helping developing the Kaspa blockchain, or block DAG, the Casplex, and the KRC20, they're taking active part in doing so. They will help in the growth of Kaspa coming through as well, allowing it to take a lot of the market, as Kaspa is going to be utilized in the energy sector, which is a very, very big market. So again, very, very bullish to see, and it's all happening during what's going to be one of the most bullish cycles for crypto we've ever seen in our life. Right? We've got so much institutional adoption coming through. We have negative news like this, which it's the downside before we see the reversal. US bankruptcy filings at highest level since 2017, which is very, very bad. Right? Of course, dire news, but therefore it's a sign that the system's collapsing, and we need to see a reversal, a switch. Which is why the industries and governments of the world are now switching to blockchain technology. They're letting the system collapse, letting the banks, everything bankrupt, everything collapse, but then they can switch to this new monetary system and use it as a savior to, bail us out, so to speak. Everything becoming tokenized, everything becoming digital. Welcome, Leroy, my man. Welcome to the stream. Fantastic news. Thanks for update, Kaspa fan. You're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, again, it's just constantly staying informed, keeping up your knowledge so you understand everything that's going on in space. There's so much incoming for Kaspa and crypto in general, and this 10Bps is just absolutely massive for Kaspa. We already knew it was coming. We already knew that Kaspa had it, but now we have after being left in the dark for quite some time, we now have the official confirmation that 10 blocks per second is going to be coming very, very soon. First quarter 2025, early 2025, hopefully by Michael Sutton. It should be 6 to 7 months from now. Right now we're in August, so that's September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So we'll see February, March, we'll see 10Bps. And that will be, one of the most heated times of this bull cycle leading up into the next, 3 to 4 months after that, where we'll see it start reaching new all-time highs, higher and higher. And again, in relation to hard fork, as I mentioned, with so the soft fork, again, to go back to what Shai stated, the soft fork was only something the miners had to look towards, right? The hard fork is for everyone having to agree, right? That's what I mean. When the hard fork happens, then you'll have the likes of the exchange listings that will have to then agree to the hard fork and make that change in the code themselves, right? With the help of Kaspa, of course, Kaspa's given them ample of time, ample of warning. Now we've got seven months of warning, so it's not like they've been caught off guard. They've got ample of warning for it, but they're going to have to make the hard fork as well. So with the likes of Kraken, who are meant to be listing Kaspa very, very soon, as we can see from this post, they already secured a spot listing, so we should be seeing a listing with Kaspa very, very soon. It means that if they list Kaspa, let's say in September, like I hope they will, and I believe they probably will, it means that come February, March next year, or earlier than that ideally, but when the hard fork happens, they will have to make the changes themselves on their platform, which is probably also why it's taken them so long. So regrettably, listings require significant time and resources for implementation within our infrastructure. It's possible that Kaspa's informing them of what's potentially happening with the hard fork, as they probably their due diligence to do so. So they're also making sure they have all the code prepared and ready, so when the hard fork comes down to it and it happens, they won't have too many issues with the hard fork themselves, and they can just do it. But again, it's just proof nobody can touch Kaspa. Kaspa's doing incredible things, and 10Bps is just the first step of many things Kaspa's building to completely take over the space. Not to mention you've got Dagonite coming out at some point, hopefully within the next 2 years or so. Again, we have to wait and see about that because we haven't heard much on that recently. We also got smart contracts as well. We've got the Ethereum wallet. We've got so much incoming. It's just good news all around for Kaspa, and it makes me very, very bullish. Greetings to all future millionaires. We're all going to become very rich of Kaspa. I'm very sure about that. And it's fallen to 4%. Yeah, if you look at Kaspa's chart right now, it's down 3.78% on the daily time frame, now valued at 16.06 cents. And from that side of things, it does look quite worrying. I understand that. Again, if you look at Kaspa on the yearly, go back 1 year, you can see that Kaspa from November of last year, so almost a year, like maybe 9 months or so, 9-10 months, it's not really moved much. If we get we just get a rectangle here, we can see it's not really moved much. Like this is where it's currently at, and now it's at all-time high from September. There's not much in that. So I understand from the yearly, you think, oh, Kaspa's been quite boring, it's had no price action. But again, you've got to look longer term, you've got to look out and see that Kaspa has done amazing things in its 3-year lifespan. Launching at the peak of a bull cycle. It launched at the peak of a bull cycle into the worst bear market in our history, and has been going up since then. Right now, it's not a lot of liquidity in the market for Kaspa to continue its pump, but we are seeing time and time again that the hash rate is rising higher and higher. In fact, I'm going to show that as well. On 2miners.com, Kaspa hash rate, we can look at the daily, we can see another new all-time high right here of 891. We are literally on track to seeing 1 EH, 1000 PH before the end of this month. So again, it's a sign that Kaspa's adoption is going more and more and more, and therefore it's becoming more secure as well, right? But that also, which is very, very good, so more secure and growing in adoption. But the problem also, therefore, it means the miners are struggling more to be able to mine the blocks. It's more secure, it's harder to mine the blocks. So therefore, they're making less money. So it's indicative that we're going to have to start seeing a switch, right? We're going to have to start seeing a reversal in the price, or another way for miners to make money with Kaspa. Otherwise, we're going to leave the project, which is why the imminent release of KRC20 is very, very bullish, because KRC20 will give these miners other ways to make money. They can mine the KRC20 blocks and tokens as opposed to Kaspa for the meantime. and eventually we will see a reversal. I think the KRC20, from what I remember hearing in the round table with the KII, they spoke about how, you know, bullish and how happy they were that institutions, it wasn't the KII that said it was beforehand. I think it was Christian that said it. But effectively, much as the KRC20 is lost its, you know, bullish sentiment surrounding the retail markets, people like you and me, but institutionally speaking, it's still got as much hype as it did when it initially was announced. Like, Kaspa is going to be utilized for both retail and institutions, but the fact that we have institutions here with Kaspa is going to be very good for its future adoption and price to come, and the KII are going to do amazing things with that as well. At what price do you think resistance is? Well, it depends, right? Because, again, I'm going to do some very, very brief TA. I don't, you know, rely solely on TA. I don't think it's a do or die of everything, but I think it's good for some indicators. If you look at the market right now, you can see there's some form of level of resistance around this region here. So around this region seems to be some element of resistance. And then at the same time, I would say the next level of resistance would probably be slightly lower. See around this region here, and we can see that happen again. You can see where the wicks are bouncing off. So this is where the areas of resistance would probably be. And if Kaspa continues to be around this region for the next week or so, leading into what will be the rate cuts, I believe we will see a correction in the market, and Kaspa will probably come down to one of these levels of resistance, if not even as far down as back down here as when the crash happened. We'll have to just wait and see what happens, because there's a chance that Kaspa may continue at this price and may even start to push up a little bit. But right now, there seems to be, you know, a lot of sell pressure, a lot of, you know, consolidation happening with Kaspa right now. And if you have a look at its, but it's not like again, I don't think it's a cause concern, right? Most people think it's quite worrying to see that Kaspa's coming down. If you believe Kaspa's going to turn around in this market, which I do strongly, then I'm not worried about it at all. I think this is just a calm for the storm. We'll see Kaspa start turning tail very, very soon. And we can see that, you know, Kaspa adoption-wise is growing more and more. Again, addresses don't mean people, right? Because some people can have multiple addresses. But at the same time, we are seeing, last week that was at 400,000. We almost got 10,000 more addresses that hold Kaspa in that time. We are seeing increased adoption on the hourly, on the daily, on the weekly and the monthly. We're just seeing increased adoption. Very few people are selling Kaspa. It's just going down in price because the liquidity is not there. But again, it's just I think we'll see it turn and have a reversal very, very soon due to the market sentiment happening right now. The Federal Reserve is set to cut rates 3 times by a total of 0.75% this year, according to Reuters, which is quite significant. You know, every other country cut by 0.5. So America cut by 0.75 is actually quite a lot more. So that's quite significant. So that means we could potentially see a lot more corrections incoming. Every correction, every rate cut normally results in a correction in the markets. But at the same time, because it's a sign that the markets are not stable. But at the same time, that's also indicative and a sign of a bull market incoming as well. So I'm not too worried about that. Not to mention as well, you're the likes of Donald Trump, who, you know, seems to be pushing all forward with his you know, pro crypto campaign and trying to win the hearts of the people right now, where he's saying that he will give gigantic tax cuts to Americans. Now, whether it's true or not, you know, anyone could, you know, make predictions and speculate. But ultimately, right now, it seems that whereas Kamala Harris had a favor in the polls, it seemed to have switched back to Trump a little bit, because Kamala Harris went on a pro-crypto, you know, campaign, and then she's announced that she's going to employ Gary Gensler at the US Treasury, and she's employing other members who are anti-crypto into powerful positions. So people are now calling her out on her, you know, misleading comments. So people, and obviously we've seen what Biden's administration has done to crypto already, so people are not happy about it. Now, obviously, crypto make up a very small portion of the, you know, total population that will be voting. But it's still, with the growth of crypto, it's a very, very important market they need to try and tackle. Crypto is not going away no matter what they try and do. So, you know, Trump seems to have his paws on the crypto community right now, and he's trying to do what he can to win favor. And I mean, I'm not talking too politically, because I don't have an opinion on it. I'm just stating purely based off I'm pro crypto. Whoever gets in power, to me, is not too much of a concern. It's just whoever's pro crypto. I want crypto to flourish. And if Kamala Harris is against it by enforcing the likes of and putting Gary Gensler in positions of power like that, I just don't want him in power personally. But again, we can see further proof crypto is not dying. 60% of the largest hedge funds have disclosed Bitcoin ETF holdings. 60% of the largest hedge funds. That is a very, very significant number. The $108 billion VanEck Matthew Siegel tells CNBC that all the big Bitcoin selling is behind us, and it's really hit its stride at this point, and they are buyers, so they think that Bitcoin's going to recover very, very shortly, which I couldn't agree more. And the Japanese public company MetaPlanet has bought another 500 million yen worth of Bitcoin. This is the second time I've seen it in the past week or two. So again, we are seeing increased adoption with Bitcoin, with crypto. So I'm not worried at all about the direction of where crypto is going. The lower it goes, the happier I get. The deeper the bear trap, the deeper the pit, the more bullish I become, because I know they're going to see a reversal and the most violent breakout for crypto and Kaspa for the future to come, in my personal opinion. Mohammed asks, I will only wait till December if Kaspa is still at that price at 16 cents. I will not hold Kaspa. That's my promise. I mean, if that's your decision, then by all means, you're entitled to that. I will be surprised if Kaspa is still at 16 cents by December. Very, very surprised. I think it's very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. But if it does, then, fair enough. I personally won't be selling my Kaspa. I think Kaspa is a project that will continue to go up. Again, it being a proof of work fair launch, it's going to continue increasing in value in due time. You've got the likes of the KRI very deeply involved with Kaspa, who are going to be sending Kaspa, parabolic into the energy sector, the finance sector, improving Kaspa. They're going to have the KRC20 coming up very, very shortly. We'll have stable coins, as I've showed in previous live streams and posts, JP Morgan are very bullish on that. Harvard are saying that stable coins will allow, to dismiss and basically just take over the SWIFT system, which is, revive and take over the SWIFT system, which is very, very big. So Kaspa has all the means to completely take over the space. All the developments they're late. I think that's the problem. Kaspa, as great as it is, a lot of the developments are happening a little bit late, right? They launched, they've been working diligently and taking their time, but ultimately it's still coming out in, most of these developments are still coming out in this bull cycle, so it's not late. This is the time where all the developments are happening. All the institutions are getting involved now, so it's better happening now than 2 years time. But some of these institutions have been preparing for a while. The likes of Ripple and XRP, they've been preparing and doing this stuff for years and years and years, and they've had a lot of developments happening in the last year or two into the run-up of institutions, where Kaspa's only just starting now effectively. But Kaspa had the technology and the growth, and now with the 10 BPS, it has the potential to take up a lot of the liquidity and have a significant gain significant market share from the other blockchains and the protocols that are currently leading the space in the sector within institutional adoption as well. Can you make a vid getting set up to mint Kaspa tokens? I found some vids and got it for the most part. We'll have a tutorial. I can have a look into that. Yes, definitely, Seth. I can have a look into it and I'll try and make a video for that. So it might take me a bit of time because I am fortunately, right now, it pains me to say, I'm literally trying to build my knowledge so much. I'm learning so much that I have just the last few streams I only have to do just an hour. I've not been able to do my 1.5 or 2 hours because I just don't have the time. But I will definitely try and I'll write that down in my notes right now to try and see if I can make a tutorial for Kaspa minting. If that is what people are interested in seeing, then I will have a look at making a video and tutorial to make it easier for people to understand. Do hard forks affect the coin and supply or just the mining? Okay, so to revisit this, because I did cover this at the beginning of the video, there are two things. There's soft forks and there are hard forks, right? So soft forks are what we've already seen with the migration into Rust, right? We saw the migration into Rust where the miners had to switch over to Rust. That was a soft fork. So to give you an example, to break it down, a soft fork is a very subtle change, right? It's not major. It's like adding a new rule to a game without changing the core gameplay, and only the people creating the new game pieces, being the miners who are creating the Kaspa, they're the only ones that need to follow the new rule. Everyone else can just continue buying Kaspa as they normally do with no worries whatsoever. So in another example would be it's like adding a new card to a card game. So adding the Joker card to a stack of cards in you playing solitaire somehow. So the existing players just have the Joker card and that's fine. It doesn't really matter to them. But the people who are creating the game, the miners, need to understand what the difference is effectively. Then the hard fork is different. The hard fork is not the same. It is like changing the entire rule book to a game. It's a major, major change. And not just the miners, but all the players. So even people like us will have to agree to the new rule to continue playing the same game, to continue being able to buy up and, get a hold of Kaspa. So this is why exchanges will have to be very well informed and agree to the hard fork in order for them to continue, selling off their Kaspa to, the retail market effectively. It's important to note, though, in answer to your question, that it is possible that hard forks can mean new coins. It can, but it's not like a guarantee by any means. It's possible, but many hard forks are simply just upgrades to the existing cryptocurrency. So it's majority of the time you just see an upgrade to the protocol. So what's going to happen this time around, most likely, is all we're going to see is an upgrade to the Kaspa protocol. We won't get a new coin, we won't get a new supply, nothing of that. It's just an upgrade. And the fact that they're taking 6-7 months to do this, as opposed to just doing it quickly. Like what happened with Gala, right? I mentioned this in my previous stream as well, with the hard fork. Gala did a hard fork as well. For legal reasons, they had a problem with one of their co-founders and needed to make a quick token. So they made Gala V2. They made a completely new token. And they had a hard fork. But the reason why they had to do it as well was because they needed a new token for a reason. If you want to explain the reason, I will. Effectively, it was just that one of their co-founders was just stealing their tokens, so they had to make a new one to make those tokens obsolete. So then the guy who was stealing it had useless tokens now. Massive scandal that caused a lot of problem for the project. But they did a hard fork very, very quickly. So that's why they needed to change new tokens. But what Kaspa's doing is very methodical, very slowly, very thought out, and they don't seem to need new tokens. As Shai basically confirms here, it doesn't mean a new coin or split to two separate coins. It's just that some people prepare hard forks that way. But doesn't mean that you need that. For example, there are many examples like hard forks that do not. So all Ethereum hard forks, you don't see a new Ethereum token. But Ethereum's had multiple hard forks. You don't see a new Ethereum token. So it doesn't mean we're going to see a new coin. It just means that, it's a change to the code right now. And there won't really be much of an adjustment for the mining either, because we've already seen the shift already happen. The soft fork, right? So the miners have already agreed to the fork already. Some of them are still using Go, which is fine. It means the people who are still using Go, they will have to switch. Like the hard fork is not backwards compatible where the soft fork is. So the miners will have to, the ones using Go, will have to switch to Rust when the hard fork is officially complete. Everyone will have to upgrade it, but otherwise then no. So ultimately it's just going to be it'll be a very, very methodical, slow process of making sure everything is really fine-tuned. And we, the public, us investors, will have to do little to nothing. Right, we just get to sit back and just watch it unfold as Kaspa increases in blocks and becomes a more dominant project in this in this sector. Rising up the ranks in CoinMarketCap, going from currently being at 22, running up into the top 15, if not top 10 by that point as well, because that's going to be again 7 months time where we're going to be seeing the KLC20 release, Kraken listing most likely happen by then, Binance probably most likely by then as well. We will see KRI and what they are building with Kaspa as well, and many other things as well, and then we'll see the migration to 10Bps, which will make even institutions will be even happier. Everyone will be happier with 10Bps as it becomes more secure, more scalable, and more decentralized with 10Bps. It's just a better upgrade ultimately. Why did Kaspa lose its energy this year compared to 2023, even though 2022 was so much better? I mean, it's just. I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's hard to determine what exactly caused Kaspa to, in the span of this year, from the end of 2023 to, arguably have quite a stagnant price action. We can see, it has had ups and downs throughout the whole time, but, the difference in price right now is, if I get an exact measurement, is about 2.6% increase for Kaspa for November. So people do believe that Kaspa's lost its energy, and people are quite bearish in that regard as well, which I understand. I understand that. But I think the reason why is because Kaspa was a project which was growing quickly in adoption, had a lot of FOMO, and had a lot of this Binance futures announcement caused Kaspa to skyrocket to 15 cents, and had a lot coming out in the worst bear market. It was doing a lot of things. And then in this cycle from 2023, this is when we got institutional adoption finally coming in place. Institutions finally got involved in January of 2024, and that caused Bitcoin to start doing its bullish uprise and whatnot. Where was it there? So no, I lie, even I tell a lie. I'm pretty sure I got a mistake in the notes. Yeah, it was we started seeing a momentum push up from here. The halving happened around May here. Institutions got in. No, I was right. What? I'm tweaking. Anyways, point being, yeah, I think that it's just a case of the Kaspa's just consolidating right now. It's biding its time. But as Michael Sutton stated, we are at a boiling point in technology wise for Kaspa right now. That for me is pretty evident with everything they're building, and I think that it's at the point where this just for the last this year, so to speak, we've had many announcements for Kaspa, but nothing particularly game changing. Think about what actually happened this year for Kaspa. We had the announcement of the migration to Rust, which was very, very good. That caused this pump here, a lot of this pump here. The migration happened around this region here, and then following that we had this this push to a new all-time high of 19 cents. But ultimately, we have not seen too many break announcements happen with Kaspa, and again, all the attention's been on the big projects like Bitcoin and Ethereum with institutions right now. But Kaspa's getting the adoption now; it's growing more and more, and once the liquidity comes back into the market, we will see projects explode, right? Especially Kaspa when it gets to tier ones as well. The tier ones will be a crucial factor to give more access to Kaspa, and they're going to be coming very, very soon, I'm sure. I keep seeing on X Nano Maxis down in Kaspa. Is there any Kaspa killer at this moment, or is it just FUD? To my knowledge, it's just FUD. Like, I don't see I think it's just FUD, right? Because ultimately, Kaspa's life cycle is still very, very. There's always going to be projects claiming to be the Bitcoin, the Kaspa, the Ethereum, the Dogecoin killer, whatever it may be. But Kaspa is so early on into its cycle, and I have not heard of any other project doing what Kaspa's doing right now, being a proper block that protocol that's the trilemma solver, that has the institutional partnership with the KII. I have not seen any other project properly do what Kaspa's doing right now, and for me, that's like, okay, so any projects claiming to be that much, I mean, I've not heard of anything, right? I could look into Nano. I'm not saying that it's completely lying, but I have not heard anything about it, and I don't believe it, right? I'd be surprised, right? Because I mean, think about all the projects in the time span of Bitcoin that claimed to be the next Bitcoin killer. You had Litecoin that also came out as well, with it being a proof of work that was meant to flip Bitcoin. All the other projects meant to flip Bitcoin. None of them done that. None of them can do that. But Kaspa had the potential to do so because it solved the trilemma. That's a very, very big factor. And yeah, ultimately, again, to just reiterate, as much as Kaspa over the past year has not done much, look at Kaspa on this lifespan. The fact that Kaspa did this in a bear cycle, Kaspa launched, at the peak of a bull cycle. So it launched arguably at the worst time for it to launch, went into the worst bear cycle in history, and it's the only crypto to have done this. At least this well, definitely. So whereas the last year has done nothing, just much as well the last year Kaspa's done nothing. Think about it from the long term, the broader, the bigger picture. Ultimately, Kaspa has done something that no other project has been able to do in the worst cycle in history. So all it just means is that Kaspa's reached its position right now as we're leading up into the bull cycle. Will the new KRC20 change the previous minting process? I'm sure it probably will, because again, the hard fork, KRC20 actually, I am not too sure. 10Bps I'm sure will, because that's hard fork. So all the people have got to agree to the changes that happen. So I'm sure 10Bps will definitely change the minting process. KRC20 I am not currently too sure about. That's something that again it's probably worth looking into. I'll put that down again in my notes to look into that myself, but I don't believe it will. Just quickly doing a quick Google search for you to answer your question. From what I've seen from a Google search, it looks like it won't. KRC20 and Kaspa minting, there won't be any direct impact. because effectively KRC20 is a tool for building additional functionality on top of the Kaspa, whereas Kaspa's underlying minting process remains unaffected by KRC20. So KRC20 won't affect that at all. 10BPS will, but KRC20 shouldn't affect that at all. If you hold cast in tangent, will the tokens convert over automatically, or do I have to convert them manually? That's something that we're going to be figuring out in due time. Like the same thing, if it's the same thing that happened with Gala, which I'm sure it will be, it will just be a question of they'll send out an announcement, and when they happen with Gala, all the exchanges made their announcement of, yes, we support the Gala migration, the new Gala V2 tokens that they were talking about. Obviously, there won't be new tokens for Kaspa, but you'll see an announcement from the likes of MEXC and LBank and Bybit, all those exchanges that actually list Kaspa to say, yeah, we support this migration. Now, Tangent might say that as well, but if not, it just basically means you've got to send your Kaspa over to an exchange when the hard fork happens. When the hard fork happens, then you put it all back into your Tangent. But I would be surprised if Tangent is not supported. I would be surprised. But again, we've got months. It's not a cause for concern right now. You have literally months to prepare yourself. You're getting informed now, which is great. But you have months to prepare yourself, and you'll be informed closer to the time on what's happening, and you'll be able to take action accordingly. So as long as you're in this space, which you should be, you're here now. So long as you're here, you'll find out soon enough what we need to do. You've still got a long time to wait. So it's not a cause for concern right now. It's not gonna it shouldn't be problematic for you guys at all. So I would just be happy we have. I understand the worry with it. I'm not trying to discredit that by any means, but ultimately just be happy that we have this visual confirmation coming now, and we're going to see Kaspa become 6,000 times faster than Bitcoin very, very soon. And all the hard work, the initial hard work has been done already. It's just now fine tuning, and we're going to take our time, and eventually we just have the new tokens, and we'll have this amazing new blockchain protocol, BlockDAG, 10BPS is going to make Kaspa that much better, right? But that's ultimately why I'm again so very bullish right now on Kaspa. Kaspa, again, being at its position right now, I am quite surprised. Me personally, I said this in my stream yesterday, I'm waiting for Kaspa. Actually, this is like a level of resistance for Kaspa right now. I'm hoping Kaspa comes down to 15.5. I think there's a possibility it can do. If it does come back down to 15.5, like if Kaspa reaches the bottom half of this support level, that's when I will be personally buying a bit more Kaspa. And if it continues to be around this level leading into September when the rate cuts come in, then I will expect Kaspa to continue consolidating and dropping in price, and that's when I'll try and scoop up some more Kaspa if I can. But right now I'm just looking at the chart, and I'm just watching the developments, learning more, and very, very bullish about Kaspa. And I'm making these streams to you guys just to keep you all informed and help build this community together, so we all can build our understanding and knowledge of what's going on in this space, not just with Kaspa but in crypto in general. Again, we've got so much in common, which is why if you enjoy the streams, because I've been doing them 20 days in a row and I thoroughly enjoy doing them. If you enjoy the streams, feel free to either like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. And also, if you want to learn more, then by all means feel free to come and join my free Discord server. The link is in the chat right here. And yeah, the free Discord server where I've just I made it about 2 weeks ago, just a little over 2 weeks ago. I think it was 20 days ago now, and I'm at 230 members already. It's been growing very quickly, and in it already we've learned a lot in regard to crypto, building our knowledge, being able to call some market sentiments as well, be able to call what's happening at this top here. We thought it was going to be a reversal, and it did happen. My members and me managed to get Kaspa very, very cheap, around 13.5, some even at the bottom at 12.5. They got very fortunate, and we've been learning a lot about market sentiments and crypto, and not just Kaspa, other crypto products as well. So again, if you want to learn more, then feel free to join the free Discord server. The link's on the screen right now, and also in my description, and also on my homepage as well. At what price do you think it will bottom out? I want to buy the dip. I mean, it's hard. It's very, very hard to predict a bottom in general, right? Because it really depends on the current market sentiments and everything else that's happening. Ultimately, right now, I mean, I understand wanting to min-max your investments, of course. Ultimately, right now, I think even getting much as I'm holding off because I have investment in Kaspa already, and I'm quite happy with my investments, and I'm hoping it's going to go down lower. But even in getting into it right now wouldn't be a bad idea. Like I have considered it already, getting in now. I'm personally going to wait a little bit longer. Now, personally, I think this was probably the bottom for Kaspa, around 12.5. I think if corrections come in place, it will have to wait and see, because again, it depends. The corrections will cause correction in the stock. The Fed rates cuts even will cause correction in the stock markets, and the crypto markets will have to see the fallout the rate cuts will have, because the rate cuts could cause Casper to correct down to 14, 15. It could correct back down to here again. We have to just wait and see. So it's really hard to determine. We have to see what fallout happened in other markets to determine what's going to happen with Casper. I am, personally, I believe we'll see Casper come down at least this far. Again, it depends if it stays at this region, because right now Casper's been consolidating in this range for almost 2 weeks, and we could continue seeing that. But at the same time, we could potentially see Casper start making a sort of a bullish rise leading up into September, with all the imminent FOMO of KRC20 being released and Kraken launching Casper. So it's hard. It's hard to determine where the bottom will truly be. But that is currently, my thought process is I'm just gonna, buy my time, watch the charts daily, watch the news channels, whether it be CNBC, whether it be Twitter, find the news sources, build my understanding, create a strategy, create a game plan, and I'll, make an idea of where I think Casper's going to go. Right now, if Casper stays at this region going into September, I think we'll see Casper come back down to like this level around here. Potentially more, but we'll have to just wait and see. I'm hoping a pullback as well. I'd love to get 25k more Casper. Yeah, so exactly. I would. I mean, I'm not opposed to putting more money into Casper right now, but if we get a pullback, then it would be fantastic, because Casper, in accordance to the power law, which I've showed in my last few streams now, in accordance to the power law, Casper is extremely, I mean, not just Casper, even Bitcoin. Bitcoin 20% undervalued according to its power law. Casper 36%. Casper's support level should be at 18.2, and it's currently under 16, or just around 16, which is insane, and it may go lower. So that's why, I'm strongly believing that when Casper eventually does reverse and reaches back into the power lap band, when it's up reversal, I think that we will see a very explosive breakup for Casper, because Casper's been suppressed for so long. I'm not saying there's market manipulation in Casper. I'm just saying that Casper value is undervalued right now. There's not enough liquidity in the market. But you look at Casper and what they are building: KRC20, 10Bps, KII, all that Casper is building. I'm like, okay, well, there seems to be enough developments happening with Casper right now that leads me to believe that we will be seeing a reversal of Casper in the coming month or two. Not to mention, again, Kraken listing, which seems to be imminent as well. That could be happening in the next, month as well. The power law is just a very basic indicator to understand where the top and bottom for Casper should be right now. But it's not the do or die. I don't live or die by the power law. It's just a very generic indicator for proof of work projects, like Bitcoin and Casper. But I also believe that Casper will see a reversal soon, and that Casper should have the chance to reach as high as, maybe $1. I think $1 for Casper before the end of this year is possible for, if we end up getting Binance before the end of this year. I think we see a $1 Casper. If not, then probably not as high as $1. Maybe something like 50 cents, maybe 60. We'll have to wait and see. But ultimately, I still believe that this bull cycle is going to be much more impressive than people give it credit for, due to institutional adoption. Again, wave 2 is here. Allegedly the Bitcoin has really hit a stride, so people are not selling anymore now. Is that true? I don't know, because rate cuts are going to come in. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, institutions, they love scooping up as much money as possible. They're probably just lying. You always got to be careful what you read, especially when the mainstream are talking about. Anyone, right? Do your own research and make your own decisions based on it, not what people are telling you. Like, even me, you got to make your own decisions about things, because you don't want to take your whole trading strategy based on what someone else says. And institutions as well, keep in mind that right now institutions want to make as much money as possible. So they're telling you Bitcoin's not going to sell anymore, and when Bitcoin sells, people are going to think, oh no, they are wrong, Bitcoin's going to die. They'll sell. And what they're going to do, they're going to buy more when it's cheap. I think we'll see Bitcoin correct further. I would not be surprised to see a 50k Bitcoin incoming. Wouldn't surprise me at all, and I'd be very happy if it does do that, because, again, the fact that institutions are buying up so much crypto is a sign that even though crypto's correcting, it's not going to die. Institutions want to make money, of course, and most of them would not be making much money if Bitcoin died, right? They'd lose all their money, so they need to see crypto reverse. So we have to see a lot of money coming into it. So again, it's not a cause for concern, right? I just hope the KRI project keeps pushing on and won't be affected by the delays or capital developments. I don't know, because I think KII announced in their roundtable that they are working alongside KRC20 for one, and helping with the core developers in the release of stablecoin, make sure they're all regulatory compliant from the get-go. KII are working a lot to make Casper an underlying asset of the energy sector, which is a very, very important market, going to be valued $2 trillion by 2030. And they are also, again, they're talking with the core developers. I don't think that the Caspa developments are going to, so dare I say, affect the KII. I think the KII are very well aware of what Caspa's building right now, and they are probably also well aware of the timeline for the 10 BPS as well. We've already just received confirmation right now, but keep in mind that these people are insiders, right? They part of the KII are part of the crucial project for Caspa right now. They're a business partner, so they will be more aware of this than we will be. So I'm sure they are aware of how long it's going to take. And 10 BPS, as great as it is, 10 BPS is not. 10 BPS is fantastic, of course, for what Caspa's trying to build everything else from there on. But ultimately, right now, the KII can already utilize Caspa for a lot of their DLT projects at scale they want to use with the KRC20 and the Caspa stablecoin, which are going to be coming within the next month or so. Well, KRC20 should be coming within the next month. The stablecoin should be following soon afterwards, and the KII are going to do their due diligence to make sure that Caspa and the stablecoin are compliant with regulations from day one, which is great because at JP Morgan, as again, they stated that stablecoins who are regulatory compliant will gain significant market share. And Caspa being the protocol and technology it is, being fair launch, proof of work, pre-allocations, being decentralized, scalable, and secure, it will end up taking up a sizable portion of this market in stablecoins and in general. Again, to remind you, in this roundtable, the KII stated, Rory O'Neill stated to a major financial institution that a major financial institution that manages between 20 to 40 trillion dollars of customer assets every single year, they currently do 95%. That 20 to 40 trillion major FI does 95% of their settlements on Ethereum. And Roy O'Neill told them if they switch to Caspa, just on the gas fees alone, they'd save tens of millions of dollars. So there's a real, the word of Caspa is already getting out there for institutions. There's a real incentive to utilize Caspa when the blockchain's released, when the block DAG's released, when the platform's release Casplex. So the KII are going to be a very significant player in the development for Caspa, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of development come from there as well. And this price for me for Caspa being down almost at pretty much flat bang at 16 cents, it doesn't worry me at all. Not in the slightest. Again, there's so much incoming for Caspa. Caspa will take crypto to the next level. Exactly. No other crypto in the space is doing what Caspa's doing. There's no one else. Everyone claims to be, but no one's doing what Caspa's doing. It's the only project that can, this institution, KRI, for example, they want to have something that's decentralized to handle a lot of their projects. Bitcoin's only the project that can do that. But the problem is then they can't do it at scale. Because they want decentralization so they can be protected from bad actors and, government overreach, which we've seen what government overreach has done for the SEC in America already. They need protection from that. That's what decentralization can do. But Bitcoin's not scalable, so it can't do that, but Caspa is scalable. Again, KRC20, 10 BPS, tier 1 listing, smart contracts. There's so much incoming for Caspa. That is, again, why in the immediate short, if you look at Caspa in the immediate short term, being valued at 16 cents and, not moving much, if you look at it back from June, it's had no price action since June, effectively. If you look at it that way. And similarly, if you look at it from November last year, little no price action. I understand that much. But at the same time, there's so much coming for Caspa, Casplex, KIR, there's so much coming for Caspa that we saw Caspa, rise and rise from all the developments happening and the FOMO from the worst bear market in history. And now we're seeing Caspa just consolidate. And when the liquidity comes back into the market, which it's been sucked out of the market right now, because there's such a looming worry of recession, people don't want to invest in on-risk assets that could lose them all their money when they haven't got much as it is anyways. When the money comes back into the market, which we can now just see from Michael McKenzie, as he said, nothing will pump until money printing injection. The money printing is now starting. It's now starting, but it will take some time. Again, it takes 60 days. It will take some time for that money printing to actually start getting put into the on-risk asset market like crypto. But once that happens, we'll start seeing a turnaround. The money started printing now. There's going to be even more printing coming in September and also October. We'll start seeing that money flourish and be injected into the crypto asset market and therefore into Caspa in the month to follow. So I think come late September, October, we'll start seeing some positive price action for Caspa, and we may start seeing a breakout leading up into mid to late October as well. We'll have to just wait and see what happens. But ultimately, everything that's coming to Caspa and now the confirmation of 10 BPS, 2 years in the making. 2 years in the making and over that even. And we will now see Caspa just explode ultimately with 10 BPS and everything else they're building on top of that. 10 BPS is the funny part as well. Is 10 BPS was as Michael Sutton stated as well previously, 10 BPS was something that him and Jonathan Belinsky worked on because they were they want to have a break from creating Dagnite. So what they're doing is already groundbreaking. It's just a side project for them. They don't even really care. So that in itself is really, really big. Thank you very much for the super chat, Erika. What's your prediction for Kaspa peak 2025? Peak 2025 will be around late October, November. My predictions are as follows. Conservative prediction, worst case scenario, I guess, would be $2.50 to $3. And that's very, very conservative. My likely prediction is we'll see a $5 Kaspa. And then if we see much more incoming with the likes of smart contracts, potentially Dagnite by the end of this bull cycle, if that happens, and with all major tier ones coming in, the KI getting heavily involved, I think there's a possibility we could see Kaspa reach as high as $7 to $10. But my likely prediction right now is hovering around 5. But we'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, I'm not going to be all out on Kaspa ever. I'm going to be just constantly, I'll take profits of course at the $1, $2, $3 regions, but I'm going to be holding Kaspa for my whole life, very, very long term, and just building up my wealth as time goes on. As hedging my bets against inflation, against the government system of what they've done to fiat and the economy. Kaspa will, Kaspa and Bitcoin has been Bitcoin historically has been used as a hedge against inflation, and inflation has been crazy. Kaspa is going to be used as the same thing, but also as a medium of exchange, so it'll be the next Bitcoin. But yeah, that's my prediction. Thank you very much for the super chat, Erika. You're a legend. Okay, so Kaspa hasn't even built on its platform yet. Yeah, exactly. Kaspa is currently where it's at with still so much incoming. It's not even made, the platform Kasplex not even out yet. So when it has Kasplex and then you start seeing the developments come in, the stablecoins, the meme tokens will be created. When you see stablecoins come into Kaspa and it builds up a platform, the KI get heavily involved because KI want to make their own projects as well, right? They want to make their own project on the Kasplex as well. When we see all of that, and we see the adoption for Kaspa grow, because once Kasplex grows more and more, we'll see more adoption coming to Kaspa as they have a platform, right? That's when we'll start seeing a lot more price action as well to follow. This is off topic, but what do you think about meme coins such as Pepe Bull and Ox Beef 69? I am not too well versed in those meme tokens. My general consensus on meme coins is they are very risky, right? I see the value in meme coins. I have not invested in meme coins as of yet. That's not saying I won't. There's a chance I might invest in meme coins at some point in the future because I know there are ways to make money quite quickly. But meme tokens are very high risk, high reward, and it can be very risky to invest into them. So I have avoided them for the most part. But as we're going into this bull cycle, and I want to put as much money as possible into these projects, with Kaspa being one of the main ones, I would probably consider looking at other small microcaps, if not maybe some meme tokens, to try and make some quick profit. So my general consensus on meme tokens is I'm not too well versed in them. They haven't got much value. They're just meme tokens. They haven't got any use case, so they are very risky. They're purely pumps and dumping based off of the community. So I have avoided them for that reason. But at the same time, if at some point in the future I might get into them, and then I can provide my own a different viewpoint on that at that time as well. But yeah, as we are now approaching the hour mark, if you haven't got any more questions, feel free to ask. Of course, I stream every single day at the same time, which is 4 p.m. GPT, 12 p.m. midday EST, 9 a.m. PT, and also at 11:30 p.m. in Australia. My man Leroy, he knows. And of course, if you enjoy the streams, feel free to like, share with your friends, subscribe for more. And in terms of the days of streaming, time of streaming, the only time that this will change, to my knowledge, I'm going to put an official announcement out very shortly, is on the Saturday. So it's Tuesday right now. You got another 4 days. On Saturday, I will be out for most of the day on a business meeting. So I'll be streaming very, very early that day. It'll be 9 a.m. GBT, which I haven't done the conversion just yet, but it's going to be very, very early. So I apologize if I won't be able to join into the stream at that point, but of course you can always rewatch it. And I will still, for the most part, be as active as I can be on my Discord server. So if you want to get more access, you want to be able to interact and, talk any crypto news, updates regarding the markets and whatnot, and even Kaspa news, then again, feel free to join the free Discord server. I've linked it in the chat again. It's in my Discord server. It's in my description, and also on my YouTube homepage. And it's just it's been a very helpful community for me. Even I have some members who've also taught me stuff, but equally everyone's learned so much in this space already. So I think it's I think it's been very helpful for all of us, and I know a lot of my members who are even in the stream right now have been very happy with it. So yeah. How about Kaspa Plus end of 2024? I think it depends. If we get Kraken and Binance listings, I can see potentially $1. If I think we'll get Kraken definitely. I don't think if we don't get Binance, then I think it'll be more like maybe 50 cents. But I'll have to wait and see, because again, the reason why it's so hard to predict is because institutional adoption is truly a wild card in this space. We've never seen it before. We don't know what's going to happen with this space with institutional adoption. It's really hard to predict what's going to happen, and we know that they are very, very heavily involved. They are buying up more and more Bitcoin at as cheap prices as they possibly can. 60% of the largest hedge funds have disclosed Bitcoin ETF holdings. Some of them hold a damn crap ton of it. So when the second wave of institutional adoption started, when the bull run starts and the money starts flooding into the market, we could see a very unrealistic but insane surge, God candle, with Bitcoin and the rest of crypto. So it's hard to predict where it's going to see Kaspa as well, because it is really, we don't know how heavy the surge is going to be. We know we have people from the industry, whether it be from Ripple or from BlackRock, they're stating that we could see a $5 trillion market cap by the end of this year, which Bitcoin being at 58, 60k now, that would mean that Bitcoin probably have to reach around 100. Bitcoin being the largest market cap by a long shot with 1.16 trillion. We could, if it reaches 5 trillion, we could probably see Bitcoin reach $100,000 by the end of this year. If that's the case, then who knows? We could see Kaspa potentially reach as high as $1, but we have to just wait and see what institutional adoption does for crypto. Think about this. Cardano had a massive run last cycle, but Cardano had nothing compared to Kaspa. Exactly. Cardano had a massive run, reaching as high as, I believe it was $3. Where's Cardano? Here. Cardano had a massive run, reaching as high as $3 in the last cycle, when it didn't really have much to it. Obviously, it's down massive right now, but nothing to it. Where Kaspa's currently positioned at, it is a much stronger position than Cardano was in that last bull cycle. Being the trilemma solver, having the institutional adoption, having a much better protocol platform that it does in Cardano. It should be able to flip Cardano in this bull cycle. I'm very, very sure it should become a top 10 in this bull cycle. I'm very, very sure Kaspa should easily, if it was to reach Cardano at its all-time high, Kaspa had to be valued, I think it's like $3.80. So $4 Kaspa, and I think Kaspa easily reaches $4, if not $5 by the end of 2025, or the peak of the cycle at least. So again, Kaspa being around 16 cents, I am not worried in the slightest. If anything, I'm more bullish about it, because I just know I can buy up cheap Kaspa for longer before the reversal eventually happens, and I can, just be sitting back, sipping pina coladas in the Maldives whilst looking at my Kaspa bag and being very, very happy about it. What do you think about YouTuber Jerry Banfield and his fight against Kaspa? He says ICP is a better project, but I disagree. I've heard of Jerry Banfield, of course. I have watched some of his videos in the past. I don't, I make it as a point to not try and spread FUD about other communities, because I don't think it's necessary. I don't do it publicly. So I'm not going to say anything bad regarding Jerry Banfield. He's been in space for a while. And in regards to his comment regarding FUDing Kaspa, I mean, people are always going to have people FUDing Kaspa. Of course you will. But people who do enough research into the project and look at the founders, for example, John Sompolinsky, Shai, Michael Sutton, Aviv Zohar, who was Sompolinsky's mentor, like all the people who have been quoted in white papers from and their protocols have been utilized by the big projects, like Beeb says here in Cardano's white paper, Jonathan Sompolinsky and Shai are recognized in their white papers. So it's pretty like, if people have done the research, they can see the founders of Kaspa already are experts in this space, and what they are building is already like night and day compared to any other project in the space. So again, I'm not spreading FUD about him. I'm not going to badmouth him by any means, but I think Kaspa, it's very hard to compare the two projects, because it's like they're not. Kaspa's a proof of work. How can you compare ICP, which is not proof of work, to Kaspa's proof of work? Like, if you look at ICP right now as well, like internet computing, it's number 24, so it's already, Kaspa's already bigger than it already, and launched in the worst bear market in history. ICP was launched at a similar time. Look at it down. Since that's what it's done in its whole time. Obviously, yes, it launched in the worst bear market like Kaspa, but Kaspa has done that in a similar time frame. with ICP. ICP has actually been around longer. Like since its initial launch, it's down. This is what happened in the in the bull market around here. So this is where the peak of the bull market should be. That's where it was, and it's done that. I'm not saying ICP is gonna just crash and burn. I'm not saying it's a rug pull, but it's got the exchange listings. It's got the market cap and liquidity, so it probably will return. But it's like, I don't understand how you could say ICP is better. That chart's better than that. The projects are not the same. You can't compare the two. Like, it's not the same. Like, as much as they're working similar goals, I guess they're just not the same projects. Kaspa still has a lot more in coming for it, and it has a lot more potential for growth than I really think ICP does. So yeah, again, I'm not flooding Jerry Banfield by any means. I know people in the chat right now are going off at him, saying that he's a clown. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not spreading FUD about him, but I think that Kaspa is in a league of its own, so it's hard to compare them. And yeah, 10 BPS is absolutely game changing. It's insane, and it's going to let Kaspa completely blow every other project out of this space. It'll completely flip the likes of Tron, Cardano, Solana. Yeah, it'll completely destroy this space. 10 BPS alongside the likes of smart contracts that will let Kaspa compete and to flip Ethereum. And the KII are going to be a big part of that. Again, Ethereum right now being the biggest blockchain in this space, it takes up a lot of the stablecoin transactions. And a lot of projects are using Ethereum right now because it's the biggest and most used blockchain in the space. But when the other protocols start finally coming out and being fleshed out, and I'm talking even like Ripple XRP ledgers, that one which is mainly meant to be used for institutions, but XRP ledger is meant to finally start seizing quite a lot of liquidity as well. But more importantly, when Kaspa's one come out as well, the Kaspa platform, the Kasplex, and you have stablecoins as well on that, Ethereum will massively drop, in my opinion, in liquidity because it's just not as good. It's simply not as good. Rumor Kas has a large announcement in the next 24 hours. If that's true, then I'm going to be watching this homepage like a hawk and waiting for that announcement. I'll be interested to see what it could be. That might have just been regarding the announcement yesterday, because I saw in my community yesterday where someone told me that Michael Sutton's going to make an announcement in the next 24 hours, and obviously it was the announcement of the 10 BPS. But if it's another announcement, well, so back to back, that'd be insane. My only thought of what it could be would be regarding the KII, because the media team, in particular Panda, stated in the Discord server that they are going to have Kaspa actually, with the help of the DII, because obviously Paul Van Son is the chairman of KII and also is the CEO and president of DII, that Kaspa's going to get some institutional partnerships with the likes of people who are connected to DII. So if there's actually another rumor of another large announcement in 24 hours, that's the only thought that comes to me about it being an institutional partnership with Kaspa, which would be very, very big. But yeah, Kaspa's very, very bullish. I'm just reading through the comments regarding Jerry Banfield still. Okay, I'm not going to put it on screen because I'm not trying to catch the smoke. I'm not trying to catch beef with Jerry Banfield or any crypto content creator for that matter. I'm not in the mood for drama. Life is I want more peaceful than that. Number one rule of crypto: new first cycle coins always pump the hardest. Yeah, that's also very, very true. And Kaspa's about to reach its first cycle ever, so it's gonna pump like crazy. But anyways, that is it for the video, the live stream. Once again, thank you all very much for joining. If you enjoyed the stream, again, feel free to like, share with your friends, subscribe for more. And if you want to learn more about crypto in general, not just Kaspa, but crypto, market sentiment and whatnot, feel free to join my free Discord server. Links on screen right now in the chat, also in the description, and also on my YouTube homepage. And we've learned a lot already in the space, and we'll continue to grow more and more. I think we're at 230 members already. So yeah, feel free to join in if you'd like to, and I'll be back at the same time tomorrow, as always.